Kerry, the Chatty bean counter. Kerry, the KLB founder. Kerry, no one can doubt her. Chatty bean counter. The Chatty bean counter.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Chatty Bean Counter podcast. My name is Kerry. I am the CEO and founder of KLB Financial Management. And today's episode is about Widnes Vikings Foundation. With me today I've got Simon Fox, Foundation Director, and Roger Harrison MBE. He's the founding trustee and fellow trustee of mine. I joined the foundation earlier this year, and it's got a passion of mine. I wanted to make this episode dedicated to the foundation. I'm looking to have a wonderful conversation with you both about getting information out there about what the foundation's about, what we've got planned for the future, and get people in the community involved where we can.
Great to
How
be
does that
here.
sound?
Great to be here.
Thank you very much both for coming.
Pleasure.
Simon, you've been with the foundation now for a couple of years. Tell us a bit about your role and what the foundation does.
Big question. You're quite right. Being with us, I think it's just 18, 19 months now with the foundation. So yeah, the foundation director sounds like a grand title, but what it basically means is overseeing all the foundation activity. That means in terms of the daily activity, the overall strategy, liaising with yourselves as trustees, making sure that the bridge and dialogue with the club is positive, but probably most of all is making sure that what we do in the community has got value. I think that's probably the main thing. When I came in, we saw there was a bit of work to be done by self-admission to get us where we wanted to be, but I think probably most of all, serve the community. You got to remember we're here to look after the community, to react to the biggest needs of the community. Now, that's a big ask of anybody, but I think what we've done step by step is try to make ourselves, more accessible to some. And my role's involved really, what does that look like? How do we do that day to day? And what are the steps we can make realistically with what resource we have? And resource, we'll probably come on to later, is always the biggest challenge. So I think my role, one I thrive on, and I've enjoyed it. Lots ups and downs all the way, but I think more than anything, it's very much about being an intrinsic part of the town and doing as much as we can for the fan base and as much as we can for the town. Big role, but yeah, great to do.
What would you say the day-to-day activities are of the foundation? What does the club get involved? What does the foundation get involved with?
Lots, and by that, what I mean is we kind of go from cradle to grave. We describe it as. So what that looks like in reality is on a Monday, we're in schools on a Monday morning. That might be for school assemblies, for some of those young people who get into school early because the parents are out at work. So that's really important to a lot of families, important to a lot of schools. And most of all, it's important to the children. Now, that doesn't mean we sell them the Widnes brand. What it means is we go in there and we support them. Just have a regular day or a better day. So we have some staff that will go into schools around the area and they'll make that child's life hopefully be more pleasant that day. And that sounds like a big ask, but I think more and more some families appreciate that support. The schools certainly do. That then rolls into the wider multi-sport model that we have with schools. And what that looks like is young people just picking up balls or bats, or again, it's not about rugby balls. It's about how can we improve your, what we call ABCs, your agility, balance, coordination, and how can we make you more physically literate? In other words, how can little Johnny talk to his colleague his fellow students? Does that improve over time, and how can we help you make that better? We help schools with something called CPD, which is continuous professional development. We help teachers become more rounded in their delivery and learn things off us and take that away and deliver it to children. So that probably forms part of the initial thing we do with schools. But that then rolls in on a Monday evening, for example, we have walking rugby in the stadium, which allows people who sometimes are socially isolated or don't get out much or have certain challenges, physically or mentally, it allows them to come to the stadium and play in a warm, friendly, well, not always warm, but a warm, friendly environment that feels home. that feels like they've got a place they can be without judgment, most of all without cost. And that sounds like a bit of a throwaway thinking, oh, well, okay, you have some sessions at the stadium. What we've found is that makes a huge difference to some of these people. It helps them be stronger mentally. It helps them be physically fitter. It helps them feel more socially comfortable, which is a big challenge. And look, most of all, it lets people know that we're here for them when others might not be. We then have something on a Tuesday evening. There's a lot to look at here. So on a Tuesday evening, we have the Extra Time group, which works with men who've got mental health, sometimes challenges, sometimes not challenges, but want a warm, friendly space, as we've mentioned before. Guest speakers come into the room and they chat through some of the challenges of life, and that might be financial. It may be challenges they've had in terms of just operating day to day with the finances. It may be to do with the relationships. It might be substance or alcohol related. It's a non-judgmental environment for people who want to come and meet like-minded people and improve their mental health. And that's powerful, because we all know the biggest killer of men under 50 is suicide, unfortunately. This borough and the Northwest alone is one of the worst set of statistics in the country. And we've got to play our part in that. And the reason we have to play our part is because to some people, we're the most valid thing in the district to them, which means we have some influence, some power. And we've got to use that in the right way to give them a way to move forward. So that's another example of a programme. Wednesdays, Learning Disability is one of our programmes. We're at the stadium again. Again, I think there are 32 people at last count that come to the stadium on a Wednesday evening. They take part in sessions with Sean Mellor, who's fantastic coach, deliverer, extremely patient. And he works with them to have a really fun session around training, enjoying playing and training and talking to each other. And they go to various festivals. So that's a bit of a flavour of what we do.
Yeah.
Various other programmes that we can probably touch on later on, but I think the foundation's in a good place in terms of what we do, but there's lots more to do.
And I would say as a trustee, so I joined in January, February time. I think it was, it was. Obviously, bringing my finance expertise is primarily what I will do as a trustee. So we've been developing a strategic plan over the last few months, and let's talk about that in a bit more detail. Yeah,
happy to do that. It's taken a while to put together for obvious reasons. There are a lot of challenges in the district, and we can't address them all, but we can make a really good fist of trying to do as much as we can with what we have to hand. That's involved a lot of chats with stakeholders, people who do things in this district in real deep detail and have the expertise, and working with those guys. I think what we're looking for in the next 3 years is to make a bigger difference more often. And I know that could sound a little bit cliched, not intended to be cliched. What we're just trying to do is address some of the area problems. And let's be really clear here. The Halton district is one of the most deprived districts in the whole of the country. Probably a little known fact, but we're amongst the 10% most deprived areas in the country, which gives us something to work with, but that's not something we should be proud of. It's something we've got to be cognizant of, but it's got to be something we have to say, well, what can we do right now? We've got the power of the Widnes brand, one of the biggest brands in rugby league globally. How can we influence that brand to do more good more often? The strategy helps us do that. So we understand that the badge has got power. We understand we've got some stakeholders we can work with on in more detail, more often. But then we have to say, well, how do we grow that realistically with the resource we have right now? And look, every charity, Kerry, you'll know this, every charity has the same moral dilemma and moral conundrum. How do we get more money in the right way without sounding like we're being comic relief every day of the week, or that we're going out with a begging bowl? We're not. Resources always lean in charities. And we found that, same as anybody. Yep. So we have to be resourceful, but the strategy document allows us to move forward at the right pace, with the right people at the right time. The upshot of all that, I think, will touch more people more often, in the sense of we'll become more valid in the district. I think people will be aware that we're there for the district and that we're not just a rugby league club. It's about being more than a sporting brand, and you have to be in the modern era. And you have to be, because we can be. If we're a point of influence, let us influence. So it's an exciting time for the foundation.
Can I pick up on that?
Yeah, I was just
about the
gonna ask what
excitement
you-
part of
yeah.
it. I mean, I've been a trustee for a long time in a previous existence of the Valhalla Foundation. I think our strapline then was "We dare to dream," meaning that we could, dream about the vision going forward in our community. Our new strapline, which we just adopted now, is "It's in our DNA," and it means that we are part of the community, the DNA of the community. Why I picked up on the word exciting is because when you mentioned strategy document, doesn't sound very exciting, does it, on paper? But in actual fact, for me, it is, because it gives some structure, it gives some direction, which probably, been fair, and I've been part of it, we've not had before. And unless you have that strategy, that structure, you can't deliver as we want to be. And the other thing to pick up on is that, as Simon said, we are the club for the community, not of the community. We are the club for the community, and therefore the foundation has to be for the community. So they're exciting times.
Yeah,
Simon, wouldn't you agree with that?
I would absolutely, and I think we've touched on IMG before when we were chatting, and what the governing body now looking at is what validation do the clubs offer to the community? How relevant are they? And it's important to them. It's not just about who's on Sky Sports and who's in what league. It's about what do you do for the people in and around your town, city, whatever it's going to be. And that's a direct question, which has required us to give direct answers, I think. Roger,
Yeah.
you would probably be
Yeah.
closer to that than I am, but it's required us to be really specific on what we're doing with schools, with people of all ages, what districts we're doing it in. So community at one time, I think, was a bit sort of a bag of rugby balls, wasn't it? And going out with a coach and delivering some sessions, which Roger did many, many years ago. And look, still happens, but it's much more than that now.
And the expertise as well that we've now brought in, like yourself, Kerry, a trustee, that led by Simon, we had an audit of needs, of what we needed to have, a skills audit, and actively gone out to look for people, to welcome people as trustees who can drive us forward. And that's something else that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My background is I'm a chartered accountant, and I have lots of experience of working with charities at a senior management level and working alongside many boards in my career. So it's a good time for me to be able to put back into the community, my local community, which is I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
And the main purpose of why I wanted this podcast really was to let people know that we are a foundation, and we are, this side of the club is a charity.
Yep.
And it needs some funding support, but just getting that news out there of what the foundation does, because it has got some really good initiatives that are working really well. You were touching there about community groups and with children, people with learning disabilities, but we've got wider community groups than that. So
yeah, we have, and for us to be able to grow as well and make all those things better and shinier in one sense, the governance is crucial.
yeah.
And as trustees, as Roger's alluded to there, it's about having the right people around you to allow you to progress and execute the plans that you've got. And I think we're in a really good position as a foundation. We've now got, I would say, a board that's got a real breadth of skills.
We're expecting volunteers, the trustees, to accept a great responsibility, because as soon as we say to our community, this is your foundation, it's a foundation for you, that we are looking out for you, looking after you, then that's a great responsibility for us as trustees.
It is.
It is.
You know,
It
and
is.
it's such a potent brand. I'm fortunate because I'm a director on the board, the vice chair, and I've got a great job there, I suppose, of liaison, linking with the foundation and the board. And if we are able to use that brand, the Vikings brand, for our foundation, then there's probably nothing that can stop us going a long way
I would agree.
in the borough.
It helps that identity, and it shows the importance of the foundation working hand in hand with the club, vice versa.
That's right, yeah. And as a charity, which the foundation is a charity, we can reach areas, different parts of the community that the club itself as a professional club can't do. So that's again the synergy between the two elements of the Vikings, and the overarching approach that we have to everything, using the brand, but then being able to use the expertise that we have as trustees, as a charity, to actually drive those elements into the vulnerable people, for the vulnerable people in our community.
We've got a bold mission, which is extending sports, enhancing well-being, expanding education and linking communities. Which of these goals do you feel is the most transformational for the foundation?
It's difficult to separate sporting from well-being, from linking communities. It's very difficult to separate those things because they're all intertwined. And I wouldn't like to necessarily break them off. What I would say is we've got much more to do in each area. And I think if we do that, and we will, then we'll have an impact. We'll have a greater impact.
I would also address it in the sense of looking at well-being itself, taking that, and the other three elements, or all the other elements there, they all contribute to the general well-being. An example of that, I think I would say as well, there's a foundation when we go out into the community. It's not all about being the perfect passer of a rugby ball or the perfect kicker. We're non-judgmental. So success for us, working with children, working with vulnerable adults or anyone at all, is their success, not our success. We're not there to produce elite athletes, elite rugby players. The club has a responsibility to do that, obviously.
Yeah.
But as a foundation, we're on about the personal successes, the personal wins, the little things. So if a young child, we work with very young children, don't we, at times? A young child passes the ball 3 times, 4 times, 10 times, and it doesn't miss the target. If the 11th time it does, that is the success.
Yeah.
That is what the foundation is about. It's those kind of wins rather than the elite program that maybe the club has to go on. And it's all of those elements that go into that. So you can imagine that child who's never been able to pass a ball straight before, that success then, that his well-being is suddenly taking a great boost.
Yeah,
You know?
and I think we can all remember when we were younger, when we're in school, and a bit longer for you, Roger, than possibly me. But
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Simon. Thank you.
But what I would say is that we've all had sports stars or visitors from a sporting background come into the schools and lend their wisdom, and we've all been left with a memory.
Yeah.
And I think if we're in a position where we can leave a positive memory, well, that's a start point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just need to do that more often. But I think that for us will be the takeaway.
I mean, me as a trustee and I'm working in charities or not-for-profits, I've always had that. I wanted to be able to make a positive difference. And even in the short time I've been with the foundation, I feel like I've been able to do that in contributing to that strategic document and the plan. And you were saying there about touching on people's and inclusion and well-being and purpose. And it pulls on your heartstrings when you're reading or you see some of these stories, and it makes you proud, actually.
It does.
You really proud.
I think pride's a thing in the community world, and we always say one thing as well, don't we? That we don't have a loss, we don't have an L column.
Yeah.
So where the club have got W's and L's, and sometimes more of the L's than the W's, we don't have a bad day in the community. Touch wood. We don't have a loss day. Every day is a positive, or we're trying to make sure every day is a positive. Whatever the program is, whatever we're doing, every day is a positive. And that's probably unique in business, where every day is great.
Yeah.
Look, we have our challenges, but every day we think is a step forward. So it's quite unique in that aspect.
And I would measure it again, the 2 roles I have. It gave me great pride the other night at the awards evening to see Joe Edge, who's a product of our school boys system all the way through, get the players player. That I was filled with pride of that. I was really emotional about that. At the same time, when I see one of the LSD players, when he's done something, for him, which is like scoring a try is great, isn't it? When you score a try, and the sort of joy on their face. And the other thing is, very often you get players they'll in the game and they'll score a try, and it's all quite nonchalant. When an LSD, I can always get mixed up with the things.
A lot of letters, Roger, don't worry.
Well, it might be an age thing now,
Yeah.
Simon. Okay, I don't know. Since you brought that up.
We're talking
But
about
the
learning
joy,
with disability.
and they're not afraid to express that joy. And say, he's done it.
And joy's the thing.
That is foundation.
Joy's the thing,
That
isn't
is
it?
foundation,
Yep.
joy.
Talking about joy and tries and foundation, we've got a really good team that's thriving at the moment, which is the women's team.
We have.
Yeah,
They're doing very well. They've just won the league.
they have. They had their last game yesterday, which they won handsomely at Lee. Unfortunately, they should have been given the league leadership shield. I think it was the cup last week. But Halifax, one of our great competitors, they pulled out at the last minute, which is a shame for the ladies, shame for the women. But they've won the league and they're now in the cup. And is it the second round of the cup they're in?
Yes,
The semi-final.
Semi-final on
It's the
Sunday,
semi-final
isn't
of
it?
the cup. And they've done remarkable. And I was going to say against all the odds as well, in terms of where some teams come from, and they've got lots of support, lots of backing. They've worked with you, Simon, and know, and they've worked with trustees to get funding and so on. It's been a remarkable story. A really good coach as well in Dom, who is not. When I was a coach, I was a shouting, bawling, one of these, why'd you do that kind of thing. He's not like that at all, and it's great to see them, isn't it? They've done really well.
They have done really well. They did a fundraising event on Saturday, didn't they? The women's team.
I think they raised over £1,000 or something.
They did.
In Leggies, as we call it, which is a great place for doing things like that.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate, aren't we? In the town, we've got lots of places who, businesses who will come and support us. But yeah, it's great.
The strategic document then goes up to 2025 to 2028. So where do we see our activities? Like, what do we want for the future? What's in our strategy document that's going to push those activities?
Big question. Again, I think what we have is year-on-year measurement for each of the programmes, but we'd also like to expand the breadth of what we're doing. And an example of that is we have a number of people in the area who don't go to school. And we all know people need to go to school, don't they, for a variety of reasons. We need to look at, as a charity, can we support those people who don't find mainstream schooling enjoyable, won't attend for whatever reason? Can we intervene in a positive way that gives them somewhere to go and continue their education and building their own self-confidence and all interpersonal skills that are crucial in modern day? The answer's got to be yes. It forms part of the strategy document. So what we've done with the strategy document is break down a series of achievables. What do we intend to do in each of the areas, whether that's sport, education, health and well-being, or how we give back to our community? What are the markers are we putting forward in terms of what we expect to be good? And then what does the outcome of that look like? I think in simple terms for people out there, it would definitely be, do you offer more programmes? Yes, we do. Do you offer them more often? Absolutely we do. Will they be low or no cost? Absolutely. And I think this is where we need to get the balance right, that we cannot rule out people because of their pocket or their economic situation. Yeah. That's not our fundamental reason to be. We have to be there day in, day out at no cost. Because we can, because we should. And that's why they come to us. Bearing in mind earlier on when I mentioned we're one of the most deprived wards in the country. So for me, there's a whole lot to do. Saying a document sounds, I suppose, to a degree quite impressive, but it's about how we do that now, and making sure that we hold ourselves to account. And I know as a board that you will absolutely do that and say, what have we achieved in year one? And it's not all about money. It's not all about having more programmes. It's the sum of the parts. I think if we do those things in the right order, continue to expand our magnificent volunteer group, and let's be clear, we couldn't survive without our volunteers. We just couldn't. We will get somewhere close to achieving much of this.
Much of the objectives that we've set.
And I'd like to see us, Aaron, get back to looking at the education programme, what we had before. Yeah. It's important to remember as well that when the club itself went into administration, like other clubs have done in Rugby League, the foundation didn't. The foundation was there. It was the constant. The foundation was still alive and kicking, if you like, in Widnes and in the borough, Widnes and Runcorn. And I would like to see us get back to being able to deliver an education programme as we did before to disaffected, vulnerable people from the colleges, from the Prues that exist all over the borough and beyond, and be able to provide the vehicle with the brand of Widnes Vikings at our stadium, where we could bring youngsters in, and then they could begin to step along the path to achieving some of their potential, at least, because that's one of the areas as sort of an ex-teacher as well. That's something I want to see thrive again.
I agree, Roger, and
I think we can do it. We can do it. We need to attract funding to us so that we can deliver. Because, as you say, Simon, the nature of some of the wards, I think there are 8 or 10 wards in Halton that are the most deprived in the whole of the country. They're not going to be able to put their hands in their pockets. Organisations are not going to be able to put their hands in their pockets. So we've got another duty, another responsibility, an obligation, if you like, to start seeking some funding so that we can do that. So that's what I want to see happening.
I would agree with you, Roger, and I think people might say out there watching, well, why would they come to you if they don't go to a school? I think that comes down to one word: trust. I think young people and people generally across the district trust a sports club.
Yeah.
Not in every instance, but I certainly think people look at a brand that they care for, and we've all got to remember, sometimes you wake up in the morning, it's the first thing you think about, your sporting club. Last thing at night, your sporting club. We kind of develop a trust as a result of that. And as Roger's touched on there, if young people can come to us and get more familiar with learning being a thing, and that they have to do it, and that life demands of you that you learn. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing a podcast, it doesn't matter whether you go on social media, searching the internet. Learning is part of everybody's daily process. And if we can help them get back on the journey by using our brand, we absolutely should be doing that.
Yeah.
Because we have the power to influence. So as Roger says there, that will be a big step for us.
One of the initiatives that started just recently is the Futures Development Programme. I say it started recently. It's been going on for years, but it's relaunched.
It's relaunched, and I'm not one normally to express emotions, but this is quite an emotional thing for me, because we put it in our Super League bid about the number of youngsters that have come through our system. There's a whole team and reserves of Super League players playing at the moment who are Widnes born, Widnes lads, Yeah. We've got a championship team of Widnes born lads. They're there. They've come through our system. And one of the emotional aspect of it is that the fact that they're not playing for Widnes, the fact that we've not been able to provide them with a Super League team and so on. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's the club, that's not the foundation. That's not true, because the development aspect of it is very much foundation, and it's been led, the relaunch with the Futures programme has been led by Simon, Danny Durbin and Chris Froys from the community clubs. We're a development board where the head coach is involved, the head of the women's is involved, Dom Smith, who was always part of our development system, and Dave Rolt. So to see that back again, I can't tell you how excited. I've used the word excited quite a few times already in the last hour, haven't I?
It is.
I'm so excited about it, and the fact that we're doing it. We're not in Super League. We're doing it because there's a great feeling here, isn't there? It's a truism. Why should our youngsters be deprived of us providing them with a development pathway just because we're not in Super League? Why should that be? Why should we always be at the bottom? Why aren't our children getting more than they should? And they've been coming from all over, outside of towns, haven't they, to us,
I was at the launch event with my husband, and it was very touching. It was very emotional. Just seeing the youth in the room.
Yeah.
Who were all keen, and the passion behind the foundation and the club in making it happen. Dave led on the night, didn't he, Dave Rolt? And he did a really good night comparing, and It did. You're sitting around the table and you're looking around the room and you're thinking, this is the future. It
is, and that's the example of the club and the foundation working together, the overarching approach, the synergy between the two aspects, and I'm not afraid to say or ashamed to say, again, excited about it,
And weren't they parents?
Oh,
you sometimes see young people in a room after an hour and a half that they're twitching because they've got often fast memories and want to look at the phones and all that sort of stuff. Not one person in that room got the phone out. I was watching at the back of the room. I think you saw that, Roger, as well. No, none of the young people were on the phones from 12 to 18 years old, and that's remarkable. And to see the sense of pride in the kids and the attention they had on that stage for an hour and a half was remarkable, and just a sense of pride from the parents.
Yeah, it made me feel pride as a trustee to think. I mean, I didn't play much part in the night at all, but in thinking I'm playing my part in the foundation being where it is, and an event like it was, the launch night was really good, and yeah, it was just a wonderful night.
And it comes back to another question before about well-being.
Yeah.
The fact that is taking place in the town makes people in our community feel better.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not behind, everyone. We are part of it. We're as good as them. That feel, it's in our DNA. Widnes has got a history as a chemical town of having to strive against all sorts and to overcome all sorts of barriers. And the rugby club is an example of that. How we've always fought, punched above our weight, I suppose, to, don't forget, become the first world club champions before any other club. Widnes were there. And that feel in the town now that we've got something, the same as St Helens, the same as Wigan, but done, so I remember this conversation, in a different way. We're not doing it the same as anyone else. We're doing it our way, the way that fits our community. And in the end, the club itself will benefit because we'll have players.
Yeah.
So the foundation, as well as the other work that you've already mentioned about working in the different areas of the strategic plan to help out people in our community, we're also helping our club in order to become a better club, an elite club again. So when you look at it like that, there's so many strands to feel proud of, and to have yourself coming as a new trustee, that it is a great feeling of pride, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What are we doing in all those different areas?
And when we launched it, Roger, I think it's fair to say we didn't have any kind of expectation on the numbers. And
no.
I was doing some work this morning on the detail. I think we've got 424 young people from across the Northwest. And that's a phenomenal number. That's 424 families that were somehow intervening within a really positive way. But the fact that young people now can put the Widnes black and white on and wear that badge, they'll never forget that. And it doesn't matter whether they make it, if you want to call it make it. But the fact that 12 years old, and I think we've just opened our 10s and 11s now, the fact you can wear that badge will be a huge thing for a lot of young people.
There was something that was launched on the night, which was about, is it a number or a reference? What's that?
So there was a bit of a meeting of the minds, and we had a chat and decided that we thought that awarding heritage numbers would be good for each child or young person, because it gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them a real sense of pride that they're part of a new inauguration of the future Vikings. So each young person got a certificate presented on stage by the head coach and other people as well, just to say, here's your moment in time right now. Here you go. And again, the smiles told it all, and nobody went early. Again, another tiller. No phones, no going early.
Yeah.
Brilliant win. And the fact they all got a certificate, I thought was a nice gesture from everybody, and the fact that the club recognised it was great as well. So, yeah, I think that was a nice touch.
And another element was the fact that at the older age group, particularly, I think, a lot of these boys have been cast aside by the club, the professional clubs that they're at. They're on scholarships with them from 14, 16, and then at 15, 16, they're cast aside. What does that say to a youngster where you're not good enough for us anymore? You're not good enough.
Yep.
And Widnes was saying, hey, come to us.
Yep.
We're not going to cast you aside. You come to us. We'll offer you whatever we can in order for you to maximise your potential, whatever that potential might be. And it'll be all different levels, won't it? It may be just in the end, they don't make it as a professional player, but they're better people because they've been in our, because that's one of the strap lines there.
Yeah.
You will be a better person by being involved in our club. And there will be better people able to go and play open age rugby. So they've not suddenly been cast aside by the club. And what might they have been? You know, youngsters these days, if you haven't got that, you suddenly find that you've been thrown aside. What does that do to you mentally? So mental well-being is mental health is another. It's a theme throughout of all the foundation, isn't it? At every level, and so even at the playing side, that's important to us. And those lads have been given another chance and are thriving on it. And have now come back this last week. I think tomorrow, the second 18s. You know, an 18 side that we put on, and they're from other clubs as well.
Yep.
It's something that you said before, Simon, that we're hidden. We don't, no one knows what we're doing. That is a massive, massive, big story from a mental health perspective in terms of young people.
And what I'd add I think that's a great point, Roger. And what I'd add to that, we've always had an open door policy for people who might have been rejected elsewhere. But what we've also had, a kind of a positive benefit of the programme, has been players going on to other clubs, which some people might think, well, why would you do that? Well, we'd do that because we want the best for the young person right now. And if we can't offer them a Super League pathway right now, then if they go to a Lee or a Salford, which some of them have, they've gone with our blessing. But what we've also done is follow that up with a, well, thank you for coming first of all, and just know that the door's always open. Whatever happens with you now in your next part of your development with whichever club, the door is open to come back. And I think parents have responded really well to that.
Yeah.
I think they've said thank you, which we're not saying it for thanks, we're saying it because we mean it. So I think for us, the positive benefit is doors always open. So hopefully that he's not heeded too often, but yeah, that's...
Those people involved with the Futures programme as well, they're all volunteers as well, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, everyone's a volunteer, yeah.
We've got 28, haven't we, Roger? 28 volunteers from across the community.
Including the coaches, yeah. And they don't complain. They don't even say, well, I want a simple thing, a T-shirt and so on. But we're making sure that they're kitted out. That identity is important in it, Simon. Try to do that. But yeah, and the time they put in, it's amazing. You know, and we've said so many times, haven't we? A foundation, a club like ours, from the club perspective, a championship club, part-time club. If you didn't have the volunteers underneath that as the foundation, it couldn't exist. Our foundation couldn't exist without lots and lots of volunteers. And I think, by the way, that. I'm not saying that as a negative. That's the way it should be. I think if in all ways in society and in the area that I work in education, if we didn't have volunteers, then the whole thing would collapse. That's the British way, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's had to be in a way, yeah.
But isn't it great that it should be like that?
It is. I mean, we've got Volunteer Week that everybody celebrates. Yeah. It does. I mean, from my perspective, it comes down to the pound signs on occasion. You know, you can't grow the foundation, you can't grow the club without backing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think there's probably a plate somewhere in today's podcast to somebody who would like to sponsor or be involved. It would be great if the foundation had its own podcast series. Because,
watch this space, Kerry.
Well, yeah. If there's anybody out there that would like to sponsor a podcast series for the foundation, Widnes Vikings Foundation, please get in touch. Our contact details will be on the screen. But it would mean such a lot, and such. One, it'll help with the reach of the community. One, it'll be able to tell the stories for those people in the community. I mean, how good would it be to have a podcast where someone from the wheelchair disability team, the ladies team, the golden generation can come and tell their story?
Oh, they would love that.
Absolutely.
They really would. They really would.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even like just post-match interviews, just short clips, just having, I mean, here in Widnes where we are, this is a great podcast facility. We have to thank the the Hype Podcast Studios for this space that we've been able to use, and it's very affordable. Or Al, whose business it is, makes it very affordable for businesses like mine and the foundation to be able to access a space like this to create content that can reach wider communities than just a local borough.
Yeah.
It's a great mechanism to getting the story out there.
Just on the story element, Kerry, Roger's touching the Future Vikings there. We've actually done really well with getting business involved with the Future Vikings, and the reason they've done that is probably twofold. They like to see developing young people, but I think we offer a really unique way for people to promote their business or actually talk to their employees. More and more businesses now want to explain who they are and what they stand for.
Yeah.
They're not promoting a product. They want to say, this is what we stand for as a business. And what we might stand for is we want to support these people. They might want to talk to their employees and say, our employee retention is really important, or attracting the right candidates is important. Mm-hmm. So to do that, we've got to show that we care about something and actually mean it. So we've had a real, I think, good cross-section of businesses across the Northwest, to be fair, who've said, I want to put something against this because I believe in it.
There's a couple of elements, whether it's a rugby player who's become a better player or somebody else in a community with our other programs. We've helped them, that they, on a everyday conversation would say, well, as a foundation, you helped me, you made me feel better. That's what I want to see from the foundation.
Yeah. And for me, it's all those things, those people who feel isolated or undervalued or insignificant, that they feel that they've got a purpose, they've got a place. The strapline, isn't it, is one community, one team, one mission. So as long as we're delivering that, I feel like we've done our jobs as trustees. It'd be, make us really proud. And then being probably Super League with the team that we've watched.
We can but hope, can't we?
Work the way through, They're really good. And I think the women's team carry on as they are doing. They'll just continue to thrive. I think the women's team go into schools.
They don't at the moment, and the only major reason for that is a lot of them have got day jobs that kind of overlap the timetable. But we are working on having some of the girls and ladies available for certain sessions across the year. They've certainly got a desire to do it. Ironically enough, some of them are teachers.
Right.
They actually work in schools already across the district. We've even got an archaeologist in the team, so the job overlaps probably deters us a little bit, but we will do our best to do that more often because the girls' game is burgeoning in rugby league, and I think it's one of the biggest growth sports in the country, and we need to expand that more often, and not just to produce first team players, but same as everything else, get people being more active more often. But yes, we'll look to expand that in the near future.
I think that's important, isn't it? Because working in school as I do, as chair of governors as a high school, some of the problems that we see regarding youngsters, particularly young girls, were a lot of the mental health issues, a lot of the pressures on them, because they've not got good role models at home or in the local community. If we can provide more good role models, then that's going to help them, isn't it? And our ladies team, I keep saying ladies, they tell you off of that, don't they?
They don't like that, do they?
Women's ladies.
Women's
I think ladies is a nicer expression, but that's me, old-fashioned maybe. But our women's team, they are good role models because some of them have fought against all the odds, Some of them have come from Super League teams, haven't they? And again, they're now proving themselves. Fingers crossed. I hope it's not a secret that they're investigating whether they can go into the next league above next year, which will be a great boost to everyone. So we'll keep supporting them.
Activities such as the Golden Generation, how do people access those services?
Well, it's a good question. It's an open door policy, really. So we have these sessions every Friday at 2:00 at the stadium. At the moment, we have about 20 to 30 people of all ages, but predominantly older people, and they come to the stadium and there's lots of activities on, so they can come any Friday across the year. It's every single week, probably except the Christmas week. And again, a warm warm, comfortable, very welcome environment. Lots of guest speakers. I'm sure they'd love to do a podcast. There's some very nice chatter people in there. So, but if anybody wants to come across, very welcome. Come to the DCBL Stadium on a Friday, 2:00. Be welcome with open arms. Lots of tea and coffee and biscuits.
Oh, that
What more
sounds
would you
great.
want?
Roger, is there anything that you would like to add before?
No, I think it's been a great opportunity here for Hype Studios and your firm, your podcasts are great. I've never been in an environment like this before, I must admit. But as the time goes on, I'm enjoying it all the more. I'll come back again.
It's quite daunting at first, but then once you get into conversation,
but all the things, it's just the opportunity to start, reminding people what we're about and
the foundation's about.
what the foundation's about, the partnership with the club and our volunteers. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
No, as like I say, it's important, and I think it's our job as a trustee to, like you say in there about people knowing what the foundation is. It's our job to make that happen, and this is hopefully the first step of getting the information. Well, it's not the first step. There is a social media post and activity that goes on a weekly, daily basis, but it's about getting the objectives and the aims out there of what the foundation achieves.
Agree.
Anything from you, Simon?
No, I've enjoyed it. It's been great. So thank you to Hype Studios and thank you to yourself as the Chatty Bean Counter. Got your theme tune in my head as well. I'll probably have that going as an earworm for the next few days.
We'll have everybody around the board and next week doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I think we need to.
And why not? But yeah, let's do more of these and let's get people from across the district involved in what we're doing more often.
Thank you both very much for coming today and having this chat with us.
Been a pleasure.
It's been
Thank
great.
you. It's a pleasure, Kerry.
Thank you everybody for watching. If you would like to get involved in the Widnes Vikings Foundation, the contact details are on the screen now. From KLB, we're involved in many charities and not-for-profit organisations. If you would like some help at a financial resource or strategic direction, coming in to solve problems, help with accounts, anything that you need from a senior management or trustee level, then reach out to KLB Financial Management. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Chatty Bean Counter. We'll see you soon.